Welcome back, guys, to a brand new Warframe video. Before we get started, I have a Patreon where I tell stories, complete with sound effects. Link is in the description below if you'd like more content or you would simply like to support the channel. I also take commissions, anything voice-related, including spicy. You can DM me directly on Instagram, which is also linked in the description below. Now let's get started. My fellow Archgun enjoyers. Let's get right to it. So, the only reason that I have radiation is just because, at the time, that was going to be more useful, and it probably still is very useful. But right quick, I'm going to scroll over the mods, so that way any new players who are interested in Archguns, want to see all of these different mods, that'll be for them. Like I said, radiation isn't super important, it's just there if you want to run magnetic to do even more damage to Eximus you can, and also it's more beneficial for the Profit Taker. Now, what we're going to talk about is Heat Inherit, why I have a Virulent Heat build, and why I have a Corrosive and Heat build. The first thing that I want to say is that Virulent Heat is for if you don't have a pet, you don't want to run a pet, and you don't want to prime with any other weapons. So if you want it to be as self-contained as it can be, Virulent Heat. And actually Virulent Heat is the go-to for running Archwing missions. So if you are somebody who likes Archwing missions, or you hop into the Railjack and you just don't like the Railjack and you'd rather fly around, this is going to be the most helpful. Now, as far as the mods go, the reason that I went with the mods that I do, with the mods that I have on my Kuva Grattler, are simply because you don't really need all that much crit at all, because even without Arcane Avenger proccing, I was still getting pretty consistent yellows. Arcane Avenger is there to guarantee that I have constant yellows, to really dip into the damage multiplier. But if you start putting too much crit, you're not really gonna hit orange with this thing without sacrificing a lot of damage. And you don't want to do that. Archguns overall, mostly suck ass. And DE will eventually get to making them the way that they should be. You can also use the Corrosive and Heat, that works as well. But specifically for Archwing missions, definitely Virulent Heat. Or if you want to run Steel Path missions and you don't have a pet or primers, Virulent Heat works just fine. But if you want to get the most damage, having a viral primer of any kind, whether it's your secondaries, your primary, or pets, doesn't matter. That's what's going to give you the most damage. That is what's going to do the most work, especially in Steel Path. And that's why I have that pet. Now, a Panzerwolf or a priming weapon, or the Hound, does fantastic. It does. It truly does great stuff. And you don't need a Sentinel with the Viral Heat Verglass build. Now, before I say why, specifically a Verglass build Sentinel is going to be the best, I'm going to just really quickly explain Heat Inherit. And it's a lot simpler than, how it sounds. Very simple mechanic. So basically, you hit something with a very, very powerful weapon, and you get a heat proc on it. That way you're doing a lot of dot, right? Damage over time with that heat proc. And then you take out your little high magazine, high status chance heat secondary, and you hose them down with bullets. Instead of having a super weak heat proc, it will inherit the initial heat proc with all of that extra damage. So you could do 100,000 damage, and then every heat proc beyond that will scale off that 100,000 damage of the initial. So basically, big damage fire status makes all fire status its children. And that's it. That's Heat Inherit. But the reason that it is so important, right, if you're going to be doing Steel Path and you just adore Archguns or the Kuva Grattler specifically, is because of that. The Verglass has so much fire rate, right? It stacks it up so fast, you're getting constant viral, and then the build that I'm going to show in a second will also increase the amount of people that are going to be hit with viral and heat. So everybody that you blast is going to be dying, and then force procking in, I forgot the range, but a certain area around them, it is going to be sharing the heat and viral, and going to be giving them half of whatever the initial enemy died with on top of what they've got, right? And then it's just a cascading effect. Now, let's go to the pet build. It can just be whatever Sentinel you happen to like. I personally love Tiny Box Tim Prime. Dethcube Prime. He's fun. He's floaty, he's a box, and he kills things. This is the important part. The must-haves for this, if you're going to run like the balls to the wall build, are Contagious Bond, Fired Up, and Duplex Bond. All of the rest of them are just quality of life stuff for you and your pet. That's all you need. That is all you need. Now, of course, if you're running Ember, you can do Archon Vitality, or anybody who has a fire ability, you can. And the weapons here, or the mods for the weapon, the Vigilante stuff isn't necessary. Just the Serration, the Chamber, and then the Viral and Heat. That's it. I just have that for Crit Inherit, for my primary. And that's it. That is it. You are good as gold. And then you can just rip shit up. But what I want to show first is the differences between Viral and Heat and Corrosive and Heat, without a pet, and without my, Volt Shield. Now, people would say that, body shots versus headshots with the Kuva Grattler and shooting at the ground, you're not really going to get a headshot multiplier, but as you can see, you do get a significant amount more of damage for headshots, direct headshots, than you do with body shots. But you also get more damage in the immediate area if you shoot the ground. Which means, quite simply, that what you want to do is you want to shoot the ground. And whenever there are flying enemies, or, it's just single target and you want to see which is going to do more, the blast at their feet or a headshot, there you go. There's your options. For a flying enemy, shoot directly at it, try to aim for the head, and for a single target, switch between them. See which at the time, based on their level, based on their shield or their health, whichever. But never do body shots. Never do body shots with this. Ever, for any reason. don't. Either hit their feet or their heads. Nothing else. Look at this. Viral and Heat without a pet, without any other stuff, without any Warframe abilities, without Arcane Avenger going on, and you got this. Now, let's move on to the Corrosive and Heat. Here we are, the Corrosive and Heat. Only one mod changed. Now let's go ahead and see what happens here. Same thing, body shots. Then the feet. A little more tootsies. And then the head. I was missing a little bit, because they flail around quite a bit. But it does take them down. It does take them down. And let's see about the group. I'm going to do headshots for the group because of the angle that I have. Still doing pretty good at taking out corrupted heavy gunners, even without the viral. But the reason that you want viral to do higher level stuff is not only because of the Heat inherit, but, well, actually that's the main thing. That is the main thing. But it also, oh well, he's taking a break. But it also helps your ramp up, so that way there's not really much of one. When you have viral, heat, corrosive, and whatever your bonus element is, all of that with the debuff and the armor stripping and the heat, and then the heat inherit and the extra damage coming from your Verglass Sentinel, it does a lot. It does a whole hell of a lot. Now, let's see the difference whenever we do have the pet, and we have Arcane Avenger active for being shot at. We're going to use Viral and Heat first. As you can see here, I do indeed have 2 Talforged Archon shards for the armor stripping in the max build, and Arcane Avenger. Ooh, baby, Dethcube's already getting to work, and man, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's already mashing them to pieces. Look at that. And that's with the viral and heat. Okay. We don't need any extra viral because we have the pet, but even so, just running it with guaranteed viral, and then the spread of contagious bond happening at the same time, it's devastating. Now, we're going to try Corrosive and Heat with our pet and with Arcane Avenger. Oh yeah. That's doing some good work. That was what, 1 magazine? Yeah. That's pretty damn good. And just a little disclaimer. Because DE has given us prime mods for the Archguns, I highly recommend getting a Riven for your favorite Archgun if, and only if, it has a disposition of 3 to 5. Anything below that, not worth it. In addition to that, I recommend getting all of the prime mods that come out, right? Even if you think you're not going to need it, even if you think it's like terrible for your favorite weapon or whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because whenever they tweak these Archguns, and it is coming, because we're also going to get more Railjack stuff at some point, you don't want to be kicking yourself in the gas. Because these mods that are getting, even the ones that seem like they suck, we don't know which mods are going to be reworked, and they have reworked mods directly in the past. And they have recently. And they will rework the Archguns, and some of their mechanics will change entirely. So, just to be safe, remember the 6 Ps. Prior planning prevents piss-poor performance. If you have all of the stuff already, all the primed Arcgun mods that are gonna come out, whether they suck ass or they're great off the bat, if you just get yourself all of the Arcguns now, and you get all of the pieces, you know, the prime ones, the few that there are, and all the regular ones, then you're not gonna have to spend an exorbitant amount of platinum for something that you could get today for considerably less. Like, potentially 50 platinum for a whole Arcgun. You know, and the Ravens are, as far as I know, they're dirt cheap. Now, I could be wrong on some of them. There are going to be ones that are more expensive than the others. But imagine how much more expensive they're going to be whenever they get fixed. Whenever people actually start using them and they're popular and in demand, yeah, I recommend it. Get all the Arcgun stuff now, while it's cheap. Well, that was the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit of something. And I hope this helps you to have even more fun in Warframe. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video. And may RNG be on your side. You're a dragon that spends most of your time shapeshifted to look like a normal human. After your spouse is kidnapped, you immediately shift back and track them down, only to find a second dragon blasting their way out of defenses designed to keep your kind in. Whether I like to admit it or not, the human world is magnificent. So much color, so much noise, so many events happening. Thus, I shapeshift into my human form and live as one. And I've been doing so most of the time. I even got married and wanted to start a family with my wife. But today, someone made a real mistake. They kidnapped her, without caring about me at all. So, I transformed back into my true form and tracked them down. I will let them learn a lesson today. Never anger a dragon. I will admit, it wasn't easy to not give in to the rage and allow emotions to control me, but I somehow managed, albeit at the cost of several mountain peaks. It didn't take me long to find where my wife was, but when I arrived...